Ladies and gentlemen, that was insane. Welcome to my SummerSlam Night 1 review. We are going to be talking about one of the craziest nights in professional wrestling in recent memory. We're going to go through things match by match. I'm going to tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, do I agree with the results, and where I think storylines are going to end up going from here. And yeah, we're going to spend a good chunk of time talking about the most insane cash-in that I've seen in a long time. Maybe the most insane cash-in of all time, the ruse of the century. By the way, there is another version of the review with footage so that you can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about over on patreon.com/SantiZap. I obviously can't post that version here because it would just get blocked immediately due to copyright. So if you want the better version of the review, check the link in the description or the link in the pinned comment. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm incredibly confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And damn it, man, this is one of those nights where I just love wrestling. All right, let's talk about SummerSlam Night 1, folks. Let's kick things off by talking about Roman Reigns and Jey Uso defeating Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. This match ended up being a tremendous amount of fun, both from the in-ring action, both from the shenanigans, and both from the overall atmosphere that this created. I think it's a really good idea to have the guy with the most entertaining entrance right now, Jey Uso, plus the guy whose entrance immediately means something serious is about to happen in Roman Reigns, to have them open the show to really get the crowd greased up and going for the rest of the show. I know that I normally do not like Jey Uso running it back and doing it again, but I don't like it when he does it on Monday Night Raw when we have limited amount of TV time. If you're gonna do it on a PLE, that's fine. And this this time they did one of the best run it back agains when it was mid-match with Roman Reigns in the ring as well. I had a good laugh about it, although I know that the Jey Uso haters are gonna come out in droves and tell you about how goofy and dumb that was. I thought it was the right level of goofy and dumb to keep me entertained. I think the best portion of this match was the fact that this really wasn't a traditional tag team match. There was a moment where it came back and became a regular tag in, tag out tag match, but for the most part, for like 85% of this match, these guys were just brawling with one another inside of the ring or outside. This was, for all intents and purposes, just a tornado tag team match. And I wonder, like, if that was what you were planning on basically doing, why didn't you bill it as such? I feel like there would have been a lot more excitement going into this match if we knew it was going to be tornado tag team style. I think really the reason why they didn't do it as just a tornado tag team is that there was a moment in the match where they were building to the Roman Reigns hot tag as Jey Uso is getting worked for a decent chunk of time by B&B security to lead to that big Roman Reigns hot tag. But I feel like that's really the only reason to have made this a traditional tag team match, because outside of that, they should have just gone with it just being a full-fledged tornado tag team match. By the way, for those that don't know what a tornado tag team match is, that's basically everybody in the ring at all times, no tagging in and out. Crazy spots in this match too. There were two that involved dives to the outside. The first one was from Roman Reigns, who did the jump from in the ring to the outside, something that he doesn't really do very often anymore. And this man overshot. I think he underestimated his own athleticism because Roman Reigns went past Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed and nearly landed head first. Thank goodness that he didn't get injured because he very easily could have in that spot, but that was gnarly. The other one was Bronson Reed. Bronson freaking Reed. Just picture about how big this dude is, doing a nasty suicide dive to the outside, not like a slow one. Like, this dude was sprinting as fast as he could, and just like Roman, probably underestimated his size, weight, and speed because he almost also landed on his head. We had Roman Reigns spear Braun Breaker through the barricade, which was a nice little turnaround from how Monday Night Raw ended this week with Braun Breaker putting him through the barricade. That was pretty cool, and that was the way that they basically got Braun Breaker out of the match, because Braun Breaker was a monster and he was manhandling both Roman Reigns and Jey Uso for a good chunk of this. With Braun Breaker being down, it gave Jey and Roman the opportunity to hit the 1D on Bronson Reed, which was so cool to see Jey Uso and Roman Reigns working together as a tag team like this. But ultimately, the finish came with Braun Breaker coming back from the dead, about to hit Jey Uso with a spear, Roman Reigns pushing Jey Uso out of the way and taking a really filthy, nasty spear. And that opened the way for Jey Uso to get a quick moment of reprieve, spear Braun Breaker, splash him, and pick up the victory for the team. A victory that I thought really was going to be Roman Reigns's, but they gave Jey Uso the pin here, which was great. I don't love Bronson Reed taking pins, but that's literally what his job is at this point in this faction. Let's just call a spade at this point, fellas. I do feel like Roman Reigns pushing Jey Uso out of harm's way. I liked how poetic that was. There's many of us that are still wondering, like, why hasn't Roman Reigns apologized to Jey Uso? And I kind of saw this as a physical manifestation of an apology by taking that spear instead of letting Jey take it. But the crowd was hot for this match. A lot of fun spots. I think that they got the winners right. I do think that Jey Uso being on top here, especially with the new World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins, is the way to go to give Seth Rollins more main event baby faces to go up against, because we know that Roman Reigns is going to take some time off, and B&B Security, knowing now with how the show ended, didn't really ultimately end up needing the win because that faction still came out of this night ridiculously strong. In terms of what's next, my assumption is Roman Reigns taking time off. The filming of Street Fighter is about to begin. Jey Uso will likely get inserted into the main event scene. I would not be surprised if it's Jey Uso versus Seth Rollins as early as Clash in Paris. When it comes to B&B, they're going to be just fine. They're with the World Heavyweight Champion now. They took the L here. Had Seth Rollins not cashed in, I would have been a little bit concerned about the overall importance and scariness of that faction moving forward. But this loss was entirely erased with how the show ended, with B&B Security being part of the big pyro celebration there at the end. So overall, great start to the show. Solid opener amongst one of the best SummerSlam openers of all time. I don't think it quite is as good as Rey Mysterio versus Kurt Angle per se at SummerSlam 2002, but a really, really solid opener nonetheless. So yeah, I'm gonna give this match 2 thumbs up. I thought it was solid. Next up, we have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss defeating the Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, to become the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I am curious if any wrestling historians out there know, is this the first ever SummerSlam to open with 2 tag team matches? And I feel like normally that would be a red flag, but the first tag team match was really, really solid, and I think that this was a really solid follow-up as well. Albeit significantly shorter than the opener that went on for about 21, 22-ish minutes, this also went for a decent amount of time as well, as it clocked in at around 13 minutes, thus giving everyone a good amount of time to really showcase themselves. Call me crazy, but I thought that the MVP of this match, in terms of like movesets, in terms of getting the crowd really going, believe it or not, was Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is the one that kept waking up the crowd, who kept trying to fall asleep in this match. But anytime Charlotte Flair got in, the woos filled that stadium and the crowd was loud, which again, what timeline are we living in that Charlotte Flair is this ridiculously over with people? But overall, like from an in-ring perspective, I think that this was a really, really solid match that earned its keep on this show. Some people are saying that this was going to be potentially the worst match of the night, and I'm here to tell you that it just simply wasn't. Roxanne Perez looked really good in this. I thought that Raquel Rodriguez worked big, looked strong, was scary, but more than anything, I really liked how good of a tag team Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair ultimately were in this match. They just weren't individuals doing individual things in a tag team environment. Like, they were a proper tag team in this match, which was nice. I really liked the ending too. The ending sequence had Alexa Bliss accidentally punch Charlotte Flair in the face when Charlotte Flair was kind of cooking everybody there, which kind of opened up for the heels to take advantage of things, take out Alexa Bliss, and also take out Charlotte Flair with a Tahana bomb as well, right into the Pop Rocks. And you thought that, hey, right there, it's over. But Alexa Bliss was able to make amends and stop the pin there. And after a little bit more back and forth, this was my favorite moment of the match. Alexa Bliss is ready to deliver to Roxanne Perez, the sister Abigail, and in the background out looms Charlotte Flair from the grave. Remember, she just got hit with 2 finishers, got punched by Alexa Bliss, and she looks at Alexa with like anger and hate, and you think, oh my god, is she gonna take out Alexa Bliss? Only for her to run at Alexa and then hit Raquel Rodriguez, who just appears on camera, giving us that little bit of like doubt, like, are they gonna be able to work together or not? Is Charlotte gonna throw this all away because she wants to get revenge on what was an accidental punch by Alexa Bliss? But Alexa Bliss is able to hit the sister Abigail, pick up the victory, and and the We're Not Friends allies of convenience get to celebrate, they hug, and it was honestly a really heartwarming moment. I can't believe I'm excited and happy for a Charlotte Flair championship win in 2025. I thought this was solid, a decent match all around. I don't think it stole the show from any regard from an in-ring perspective, but I really did like the storytelling, especially the in-ring storytelling there in the last 5 minutes of this match. This also gets 2 thumbs up from me. Now let's talk about Sami Zayn versus Carrie Cross. This match was only 8 minutes long, which immediately should be a concern. This is the 3rd match. This is a trilogy. This is supposed to be the rubber match after Sami Zayn won at Night of Champions, Carrie Cross won on Monday Night Raw, and they only get 8 minutes to tell the end of this story. I don't think that it was long enough, and I think that the story that they ended up telling here in the 3rd match was ass. First and foremost, the actual match itself wasn't particularly very good. I don't think that it was any worse than their match at Night of Champions or on Monday Night Raw, but neither one of those matches was a match that was going to stand out at any moment. I feel like they weren't able to really hit another gear. This never really felt like they finally figured out their chemistry on the 3rd match and they delivered the best match possible. This feels like they just delivered par for the course, the same type of match, same quality of match as they did at Night of Champions and on Monday Night Raw. And when it's as this big of a stage at SummerSlam, and when it's your 3rd match, you can't just be delivering run of the mill. And I really feel like it was a huge whiff, air ball, missed opportunity with how this match ultimately ended. Carrie Cross and Scarlett introduced the steel pipe, which has been a huge plot device in this story thus far. Carrie Cross is not able to use it. It falls out of the ring. But then we got a really intriguing moment, a moment where I said, this could be where Carrie loses but wins, because Scarlett hands the pipe. Scarlett, Carrie's own wife, hands Sami Zayn the pipe and says, use it. And I'm like sold, man. I'm like, man, if Sami wins by using the pipe, he gets his win. He gets like a buff in my eyes. He just becomes a main eventer if he's actually able to tap into this savage version of himself by destroying Carrie Cross with the pipe, while also giving Carrie Cross the ability to win sentimentally, so that this whole I'm the devil on your shoulder doesn't just fail like it has been so far. The opportunity was right there to do that great finish, but no, they did the classic. Sami Zayn is, no, I'm way above this. I'm too good to do this. Struggles with himself for a second, throws the pipe, and then just beats Carrie Cross completely clean with the exploder press on the corner, haluva kick, and that's it. Sami Zayn looks at Carrie and says, that's it. It's over. Carrie agrees, and I guess we're moving on from this. And honestly, I'm just glad that we're moving on from this now, because this just hasn't landed, right? And it's gotten not 1, not 2, but 3 chances to properly land, and they weren't able to make an intriguing match in any of them. In terms of what's next, I think Carrie Cross might just be done with the WWE. As far as we know, he has not re-signed with the company, and the way that this ended, I can't take Carrie Cross seriously again. The whole storyline of being the devil on your shoulder, the puppet master, it failed gloriously. What am I supposed to take away from this with Carrie Cross? What is the silver lining? Unfortunately, I see none. No silver lining, no path moving forward here for Carrie Cross. I think it's over. They might be able to come to an agreement. He re-signs, but dude, I don't know how you rehab Carrie Cross from this loss here. Sami Zayn, on the other hand, I think he's main event bound. I think that this is a guy that's probably going to win the Royal Rumble. I think that this is a guy that is going to be in the world title picture, especially now with Seth Rollins as world heavyweight champion. I think at this point, though, you got to stop billing this guy as the underground from the indie. What is it? The underdog from the underground. This guy's not an underdog, man. He's not. Sami Zayn is off to greener pastures and hopefully better matches and better storylines. Carrie Cross, I have no idea what the hell they're going to do with him. Next up, we have Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. Here's the thing. This was the shortest match of the night, but they knocked it out of the park. They only got 7 minutes, but in those 7 minutes, they delivered what I thought was a really good, really engaging match, a match that I think was the best of Jade Cargill's entire career, and the best non-gimmick match since Tiffany Stratton has won the WWE WWE Women's Championship. I still think that her best match thus far is the last woman standing match with Nia Jax, but I'm just talking straight up one-on-one. This 7-minute match was Jade Cargill's best match of her career and Tiffany Stratton's best match of her championship reign. Raise your hand if you were shocked at the moveset that Jade Cargill was pulling out in this match. This woman pulled out so many moves out of the wrestling move bag that I didn't know that she could do. And also the chemistry between her and Tiffany Stratton was stupendous. Like really, really solid work between these two. And they made a short match feel really impactful and absolutely a must watch if you ask me. I love short matches that are good. I've been on record before saying that matches under 10 minutes that are good, those are the perfect matches to introduce new wrestling fans to. You don't want to introduce a new wrestling fan to some 35-minute classic because they don't have the patience to sit through that. But if you show them a solid 7-8 minute match, then you can win them over. And I actually think that if you might be able to win over a new wrestling fan by showing them Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton in this 7-minute little mini classic. I'm so impressed by Jade Cargill. I have not been particularly wowed by Jade Cargill up until this point, but this match is the match where I think I've been won over by her. Maybe I think this is the formula to not do particularly like long matches with her, keep things short with Jade Cargill, because in this short amount of time, I think that not only did Jade Cargill deliver, but so did Tiffany Stratton, and they worked really, really well together. I love that it was a clean finish too, with Jade Cargill just straight up losing to Tiffany Stratton. In terms of what's next, I think that we are in an important cross point here, not just with this feud, but for the women's division on the main event scene of Friday Night SmackDown. One of these two needs to turn heel. When you look at SmackDown right now, your top heel is Nia Jax, and that's already been played out. And on top of that, she's moving over to NXT to have a program there with Lash Legend. Your other top heel was Charlotte Flair, and now she's a babyface. And your other top heel just left to Monday Night Raw in Naomi. You don't have a top main event heel on Friday Night SmackDown. And I think you either take somebody from Raw, like Becky Lynch perhaps, or maybe a heel turn from a Bayley and move her over to SmackDown, or you turn one of these two heel. One of the problems with this match going into SummerSlam was the lack of story, the lack of feud going into it. And one of the things that I said was that perhaps this could be the start of the feud as opposed to the end of it. It is possible that the next step is to continue Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. Frankly, from an in-ring perspective, I want to see this again. I'm all eyes to see this as a rematch, but now they've got time to build to Clash in Paris, to some other show in the fall, and tell an actually like intriguing story between these two, because they went in with no story, but they absolutely crushed it from an in-ring perspective. So we're back on the win column. This gets another thumbs up. Now let's talk about Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul going up against Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that this was some sort of bona fide classic, but I would also be lying to you if I didn't tell you that I had a lot of fun watching this match. The majority and the bulk of the fun of this match, if you can believe it, is from the guys that aren't, professional wrestlers from birth, basically, in Logan Paul and Jelly Roll. When I look at the performance of like Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, I weirdly feel like they were just sort of there. Like the bulk of the talking points came from Jelly Roll and Logan Paul in this match. I did think it was peculiar to have Jelly Roll be the one to start the match in the first like 10 minutes of the match. Look, I wasn't particularly impressed by what I was seeing. It was basically just Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre working over Jelly Roll as we waited for the hot tag of Randy Orton. And we got the hot tag of Randy Orton. Randy Orton went out there and did his thing, did the backdrops on the table. It was fine. It was good stuff. But really, to me, like the reason why this is a match that I would recommend to somebody is all of the stuff that happened with Jelly Roll there in the back half of the match. First and foremost, getting murdered by Logan Paul. He got put on a table, held there by Drew McIntyre as Logan Paul put on Meta Ray-Ban sunglasses, 2 bottles of Prime, clinked them like Stone Cold Steve Austin, threw them behind him, and did a beautiful, beautiful Paul from Grace, or I think that's what he calls it, frog splash from the top turnbuckle all the way to the outside through the announce table. An absolute thing of beauty that looked like it killed Jelly Roll in real time. time. Then Jelly Roll spends like a solid like 6 minutes getting worked on by the doctors, getting carried to the outside. Randy Orton is left alone in the ring looking for somebody to tag, and then Jelly Roll channels his inner Sami Zayn, brother, and goes back, gets the tag from Randy Orton, and this things get crazy and just so dumb. He choke slams Logan Paul, then is able to hit a black hole slam on Drew frickin' McIntyre, and then does a power slam from Logan Paul jumping from the top rope like Randy Orton. It was honestly so dumb that I kind of loved it. But I really love the finish here with Drew McIntyre hitting Jelly Roll with the Claymore. We did have Randy Orton try and go back in there and hit some RKOs and whatnot, but ultimately they're able to single out a Jelly Roll when Logan Paul throws Randy Orton out of the ring, and then Logan Paul hits a really nice frog splash and pins Jelly Roll, which honestly was kind of a surprise, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. I say I'm surprised because usually celebrities must pose, right? WWE has the celebrity guests show up and they always end up winning. That's just the formula that WWE has had for as long as I can remember. But not only did the celebrity lose, the celebrity got pinned here. And I think that that's really refreshing because I did not expect this. I was fully 100% expecting Jelly Roll to pin Logan Paul. So I think it's fascinating that they kind of turned that upside down and had Logan Paul pin Jelly Roll. Look, is this gonna blow you away? No, but there is something beautiful about seeing just a Joe Schmo get out there and give it his all, because Jelly Roll, you gotta respect the dude, man. That is not a guy that went out there and phoned it in. That is not a guy that went out there and collected his paycheck. That is a guy that put in like blood, sweat, and tears in that ring, and to me earned the respect from me and hopefully from you guys as well, even if you didn't love the match. I do think with him being pinned and losing that we're probably due for probably a rematch, probably Logan Paul versus Jelly Roll somewhere down the line, because I gotta imagine that Jelly Roll is gonna get his win back, and I have to imagine that Jelly Roll got a taste of that, and he wants to come back and run it again. So again, I want to preface that I don't think that this is some sort of classic, but I had fun with it. That's really my feedback. It was fun. And then we go to the main event of the evening. We have CM Punk defeating Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. All right, so this match went long for about 30 minutes, and there was a story being told with this match, a story that led to a particular type of in-ring match that I know is not for everybody. Interestingly enough, it's my type of match. I really like this slow, hard-hitting style, the story that they were telling of Gunther just simply being too good for CM Punk here. I would say that out of the 30 minutes of this match, it felt like Gunther was in offense for about like 23 to 24 minutes of this match. This was a systematic beatdown, an ass whooping of Gunther on CM Punk. There were very few moments where CM Punk was able to get the upper hand, because for the majority of this match, it was Gunther chopping the ever-living daylights out of CM Punk, hitting him with power bombs, lariats, you name it. And I understand that that is not a style of match that resonates with everybody. This was old school. This was a throwback to like 70s and 80s wrestling that, again, I totally understand if it's not your jam. Usually it isn't, but I was on board with the story that they were telling me here. What I wasn't on board with was how we got to the, oh shucks, Gunther is down for the count. That I didn't like, because we have Gunther once again showboating. He goes to the title and the World Heavyweight title and says, you see this is for the real greatest in the world, Gunther, the Ring General. And then he gets on the announce table and starts gloating. We've seen this before from Gunther, where he's whooping ass and then he gloats and then things turn around. I'm not saying that I don't like that, but that is a formula that WWE has leaned on heavily with Gunther. But what was weird is that CM Punk trips up Gunther, and then next thing you see is Gunther getting up and he is literally drenched in blood. I don't think that this match earned that blood. And I've seen this type of match play out before. Go back and watch Brock Lesnar versus John Cena, Extreme Rules 2012. Brock Lesnar beats the piss out of John Cena, but there's a moment where Brock Lesnar hesitates, and then he's bleeding all over the place, and that opens up the door for John Cena to pick up the victory. Same with Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31. Roman is getting beat up, but then there's a slight moment where Brock Lesnar starts bleeding all over the place. But like in both of those instances, I got it. I understood what happened, why Brock Lesnar was bleeding all over the place. With Gunther, it just sort of looked like he tripped, and I don't know, man. I just don't believe that type of fall is going to lead to the most blood that we've seen in the WWE in quite a long time. It felt like a story device that just simply didn't really get executed properly. I didn't buy into it. When I saw Gunther gushing blood, I felt a little bit disconnected, and it took me out of the experience there for a moment. But just like in John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, just like in Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, that is enough. That is the window that allows for CM Punk to finally get some offense in. He hits 2 GTSs on Gunther and is able to pick up the victory and become our new World Heavyweight Champion. And look, when it comes to the Gunther thing, there is a way to sell it, right? If you are like one of those people that's in the weeds and the nose of all of the dirt sheets, a report had come out that Gunther had a severe enough nose injury to require surgery and take time off after this match. So logic would say he landed on his nose and he's bleeding all over the place, except he was bleeding from the forehead. I'm trying to make it make sense here because I know that's what people will say, that they were playing on the nose injury, but they never talked about the nose injury in commentary at all or in the lead up to the match. So even if it was supposed to be the nose injury that led to all of this blood, they didn't do a great job of explaining it to me and selling it to me. Overall, I like the match. It's my style of match. I like the hard-hitting nature of it. I like the story that they told with it. I just didn't like the execution of the big turnaround that allowed CM Punk to pick up the victory. I'll kind of leave it up to you guys in the comments section to tell me whether or not you like CM Punk versus Gunther or not, because I feel like you could go either way with it. I think that both sides of it was not a good match or it was a good match. I think that there's something to listen to on both sides here. I'm on the side of I liked it. And normally here, this is where we would start, talking about like what's next. What's next for Punk? What's next for Gunther? Well, first, Gunther, I think Gunther is going to take time off, but the show isn't over because we have one more match. Because now it's time to talk about Seth Rollins versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship, folks. Because as CM Punk is celebrating, we have Seth Rollins' music hit, that was already a surprise. There was a lot of misdirection making us believe that Seth Rollins wasn't even in the building, folks. But I didn't think that we were going to get a cash in, and it didn't look like we were going to get a cash in because we had Seth Rollins look very, very hobbled. He goes out there. It looked like he was just there to pose, to tease, and as he was saying to the camera, enjoy it while you have it because I'm going to be coming back and I'm taking your glory away. I'm taking your happiness away. And then he turns around, starts to hobble back, but then he stands up straight and drops the crutches to the side, and maybe the most horror villain, superhero villain reveal that I've ever seen in the WWE. It was such a diabolical reveal as he drops the crutches, turns around, laughs, takes off his jacket, and goes right down to the ring, grabs the referee, and boom. Cash-in is happening, ladies and gentlemen. And I predicted this in my predictions video. I had a feeling that this is how they were going to play it out, but I'm not gonna lie, even when I made that prediction, I felt like I was reaching. I felt like it was more of a hopeful thing that I wish could happen as opposed to what I was certain was going to happen. So at all moments, I was not expecting the cash-in, but we ultimately got it. And I love the way that the cash-in went. He beat the living daylights out of CM Punk with that briefcase, so that all it took was just one stomp when the bell rung, and CM Punk is no longer our World Heavyweight Champion. In fact, Drew McIntyre had a World Championship reign about 33 seconds longer than CM Punk. Seth Rollins is our new World Heavyweight Champion, and holy hell. I think that at this point, sorry Edge, sorry Cope, you are no longer the ultimate opportunist. You are no longer the guy that is synonymous is with the Money in the Bank briefcase. It is now Seth frickin' Rollins, because this guy has not had he's had 1 and 2 legendary, iconic cash-ins that have to be considered some of the best cash-ins of all time. I think from like story narrative and the delivery of this, I think this might be my favorite cash-in. Like genuinely, the reveal was so sick, so awesome, so unexpected. I love everything about this cash-in as a CM Punk fan. I know that this begs a lot of questions. Was the injury a ruse? By the way, they're calling this the ruse of the century. Was the injury fake? Did LA Knight get sacrificed for nothing? Like, listen, right now, those questions don't matter. They just don't at the moment. Right now, the thing to talk about is the cash-in and how you're feeling about it, because I know that if you're a CM Punk fan, you must be conflicted. If you're a Seth Rollins fan, you are through the moon, because you got a World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, and you have a not injured Seth Rollins. Whether it was a ruse or not, maybe the injury did happen and it wasn't as bad as originally predicted. All I'm saying is that I'm so happy to be worked. Dude, these are the moments that I live for. These are the moments that I breathe for as a wrestling fan. Seth Rollins is our new World Heavyweight Champion, and this couldn't get any more thumbs up. And we still have night 2. There's still a second night of SummerSlam left to go, a night with a better card and a main event that is shaping out to be incredibly dramatic. Hopefully they don't fumble like they did after night 1 of WrestleMania, with the great ending of WrestleMania night 1 and the dud ending of WrestleMania night 2. But folks, overall, solid night. Really the only bump in the road here was Sami Zayn versus Carrie and Cross. I'm done. Take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.